All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is January 10th, 2024. It is now 6:15, and we're going to go to item number one, meeting call to order by myself. Roll call and recording of board members. If we can have our clickers listed up there so we can hopefully save some time. All right, it's now open. All right, so we do have a quorum present, or I'm sorry, can we go ahead and close the vote? We do have a quorum present. We have made note that Mr. Luna would not be joining us today. And also we do have with us Miss Dr. Castleberry. So thank you for joining us. Moving on to item C, so recording the superintendent and staff members present. Mr. Soto.
Yes, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, HISD Community. This evening, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Richard Hernandez.
Here.
We have the incoming Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Flores.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Operations, Dr. Hinojosa.
Here.
We have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Casey.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas.
Here.
And we have our Public Information Officer, Ms. Vieira.
Here.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Ms. Juarez, I believe there's no one signed up for public comment. All right, perfect. So moving on to item 3, and prior to voting on the item for discussion and possible action regarding board member resignation, I'm going to read a brief statement in lieu of other comments as a collective team. So good evening, Harlandale community. As your school board president and on behalf of our team, I address you today with the focus on our commitment to the children of Harlandale ISD. While recent events involving one of our board members have raised concerns, our dedication to our students remains steadfast. Today, as a collective team, we'll discuss agenda items that address the issue at hand and outline the steps we'll take moving forward. Rest assured, the well-being and education of our children remain our top priority, and they will always come first above all else. Thank you for your ongoing support as we navigate this process together. So at this point, if we could have Mr. Resendez, is there a way you can kind of guide us through this piece? I know there was,
Yes,
if you want to share what was provided to us.
Sure, yes. So Board Member Carrillo did submit her resignation by email. And we discussed it and looked at policy, and the law requires that it be signed. So she did sign the resignation. And the school district or the board has up to 8 days to accept it. If you don't accept it, then it becomes effective by operation of law. So today is the 8th day. So I would recommend go ahead and accept it just to make it official. And then that seat is vacant. However, by law, there's what's called the holdover doctrine, and she remains a board member until she's officially replaced. And then when she's replaced, that person will then take over the duties of a board member. So for today, on this agenda item, I would recommend the board make a motion to accept the resignation of Christine Carrillo effective immediately, effective today.
Okay. Ms. Cavazos?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moreno. Mr. Resendez, just to clarify, although she did sign the resignation, although we may or may not accept her resignation because it hasn't been voted on, by operation of law, it goes into effect. However, she is still considered the trustee of the seat that belongs to single member District 2 until someone is either appointed or elected to that seat?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's called the holdover doctrine. It's a law that says the people elected a particular person, so that person, if they resign, retains their power until they're actually replaced. Yeah, by in accordance with the policy and the statute. Yep.
Ms.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
I have a question. So that, how long until that position is up for regular election?
Good question. So her seat is up for election next May. So.
May of 2025?
Correct. So you would be, if you choose to appoint, they would, or if there's a special election in May, either way, that would just be until the remainder of that term.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll make the motion to accept the resignation from Miss Christine Carrillo, Single Member District Two.
I
Is there a sec-
second.
A second by Ms. Cavazos. We'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. It's now open. We can go ahead and close the vote now. All right, motion carries. Moving on to item 4, which is convening closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 551.071 through 551.084. A, discussion and consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to filling board vacancy TGC 551.074 and 551.071. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
I move that the board convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code 551, Chapter 551, Sections 551.071 through 551.084 to discuss item 4A.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, a second by Ms. Ruiz. We'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. We can go ahead and close the vote, please. All right, motion carries. It's now 6:22 and we are in closed session. Thank you. All right, good evening once again, everyone. It is 7:19 and we are now back in open session. Item 4, excuse me. Discussion and consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to filling board vacancy. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Cavazos.
I move that we move to appoint seat for single member District 2.
All right, we have a motion to uh make a for to
To
see-
open,
to open the application. Sorry, the move got me. So we have that in motion in place. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chair, can we just clarify? that
Yes,
the
I was waiting,
motion
I
is
was waiting
to-
for the second to clarify.
To clarify it, to open,
Sure, so I'll clarify
You want me to
beforehand.
write-
I'll go ahead and.
I'll
clarify.
second for
discussion, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, sir. Thank you. So just to be clear, this is the process that will be followed and the sequence of events that will occur. On January 12th, the applications would open up at 8 a.m. The application will be open until January 26th, which the deadline will be at 4:30 p.m. And on by that time period, we'll receive packets leading on to January 31st. Applications will be reviewed and we will call a special called meeting at 5:45 to discuss and select applicants to interview. February 1st, we will interview and appoint at the 6:15 meeting, depending on however long it takes. So that's kind of an overview of the sequence of events that will occur through the motion that was presented by Ms. Cavazos for the opening of the application for single member District 2. So I don't know if there's any comments, concerns, or clarification needed.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Rizzo.
just want to make sure that the motion, just for, because I know we're keeping records, the motion isn't to appoint anybody, the motion is just to open, to appoint, yeah,
No,
to
motion to-
open the position,
To open the position.
right, to open the
Okay.
position of single member District 2.
All right, perfect. So the motion is to open up the application for single member District 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you, sir.
perfect, sorry. So that is the sequence of events that would follow if we pursue or proceed with that motion. So any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed? So we do have the motion to discuss. Do we need to make another in order to approve? Nope.
No.
So we'll go ahead and call for the votes. Yeah, we had a second by Mr. Mancha. Mhm. Open it up. We could go and open up for this application. Yes, for that one. All right. Go ahead and close the vote, please. All right, motion carries and we'll proceed with that timeline of events. And I'm sure, Mr. Soto, you can follow our lead in that part. Did you have any questions before we proceed to the next item?
No, sir.
All right, so moving on to item 6, the board will conduct a work session with the superintendent and staff. Oh, okay, yes, and I apologize. And if we could, I know there's been a lot of hurt and unfortunately a lot of loss throughout these last couple of weeks in our community. And we did want to take a moment of silence for Mr. Resendez and one of our,
Ms. Osana Sancho from Bel Air.
okay, and if we can just take a quick moment of silence for them, just out of respect. All right, thank you for joining us in that. If Mr. Soto, if you don't mind, I know we also wanted to acknowledge one of our colleagues here on the board, Mr. Resendez's father, Mr. Victor Resendez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Board President, HISD community. At this time, on behalf of the board and HISD, we want to present a plaque to Mr. Resendez, son of Mr. Victor Resendez. He started his teaching career at Harlandale and did a full circle and ended up serving as a board of trustees for many, many years. And so we have this plaque for you, Mr. Resendez, on behalf of HISD.
Thank you, and our condolences for all those families that are experiencing great loss. So thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Mancha.
just some words about Mr. DeSantis. I met him when he got reelected, his second term on the board. He was a great man, very silent, very quiet, but very knowledgeable. I had the privilege to learn a lot from him. In this community, really, really learned a lot from him. And we were able to do a lot of wonderful things when he was on board. So he was a great role model to a lot of us that are now on the board. So thank you, Mr. DeSantis, for sharing your father with us.
Thank you, Mr. Mancha, and thank you, Mr. Soto and board members. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Moving on to item 7, the board focused on student outcomes 35% of the time in the December work session and regular board meeting. Wanted to share that out. So it's great news. Congratulations, team. Getting closer. So now the item 8, the board will review and discuss a budget amendment for SAISD San Antonio Regional School Day Program for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Mr. Soto, please.
Yes, Ms. Casey?
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board. In August, part of our budget adoption was budgeting $100,000 for our students that attend San Antonio ISD's Regional Day School program. These are for students who are deaf or hard of hearing. At that time, we have 7 students. Since that time, we have added another additional 4 students with a total tuition of $170,794, which is well above the 1,000 that we originally budgeted. We are currently looking at a combined tuition of $275,898 for the 11 students, which would require us to do a budget amendment for the total of $175,898. This would be paid out. This amendment will be funded from the general fund balance.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on that item? Yes,
I'm
Mr.
sorry, I
Please.
was busy writing. It's an additional 175,000 for the 11 children for a total of 275 out of the general fund?
Yes, ma'am, for this school year.
All right. Any additional comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? Okay. We'll go ahead and proceed to the next item, which is item 9, the board. Oh, Ms. Casey, again, this is yours. All right.
Yes, we reported to the board our CCMR data, and it is very clear this is an area that we need improvement in. In addition, we have new staff, both in administration and counseling at both high schools. One of the things we have done is we have been we are in a partnership with the Dell Foundation and Contigo Ed. The total cost of the partnership is $75,900. With this partnership, the Dell Foundation is picking up 75% of the cost, with Harlandale paying another $18,975. This would include training for our counselors and administrators. It would include direct support for them, any kind of questions they have, and as well as our teachers and staff to understand what's required of all of our students to meet the CCMR requirement, as well as a CCMR outcome bonus.
All right. Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? Okay, remember, it's incredible, and CCMR does play a factor into a huge piece of our rating coming this forthcoming year. So whatever we can do to invest is a great approach. So thank you. If there's nothing further, we'll go ahead and proceed. So the next item, which is the board will review and discuss renaming Carroll Bell Elementary to Carroll Bell Education Center per board policy CW local. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Ms. Casey?
Yes, sir. As part of the repurposing of schools, we actually have, we looked at Carol Bell. It currently is going to house our DAEP, our CTE program that is being developed as we speak. We'll have several programs there. And we also have our pupil personnel. One of the things that we wanted to do in renaming that, because it's no longer an elementary school, is we wanted to honor the legacy of Carol Bell. And so it was, its namesake is, actually, it's been changed several times. Carroll Bell Elementary was officially named in 1953 after Mr. E. Carroll Bell. Mr. Bell was the first principal, and he taught fifth grade from 1934 to 1942. In 1946, Mr. Bell was once again principal of the school, and he retired in 1952. As the repurposed campus, we would like to rename it to Carroll Bell Education Center, which would include and would encompass all of the programs there. Pupil personnel, it would include our CTE program, it will house our instructional coaches, and it will also hold all of our CTE programs.
All right. So any comments, concerns, clarification needed from Ms. Casey? No, I guess just to clarify, we're just adopting the education piece to honor the actual work that's being done in that facility.
That's correct. And elementary, it's no longer serves an elementary campus, but it is still very much an education center.
Great. Okay. All right. If there's nothing further on that item, we'll go ahead and proceed to item 11. The board will review and discuss renaming Joel Witzel Center to Joel Witzel Center Makerspace or Marker Space per board policy CW local.
Yes, sir. It is makerspace that will be
Okay.
corrected. This is the same
did-
idea. We actually have repurposed Jewel Wetzel. Jewel Wetzel was originally, the center was first formed in 1977 to serve districts visually, auditorily impaired, and multi-handicap population. In 2000, the new school was named the Jewel C. Wetzel Center in honor of Harlandale's first special education teacher. At the grand opening of the Makerspace, which many of you attended, students, staff, and the community were allowed to vote on the name they wanted for the Makerspace. A Makerspace is a creative playground where people of all ages use tools and gadgets, fostering exploration for beginners and opportunities for seasoned creators while encouraging a sense of community and collaboration. The Harlandale Community Center will come together to share ideas, knowledge, and skills. The majority of the individuals voted for Jewel Wetzel Center Makerspace, our JWC Makerspace.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And again, to clarify, it is Makerspace, so I apologize.
Mhm.
It said marker on here, so. But any comments, concerns, or clarifications other than that needed, guys? Okay, well, wonderful. And I think pretty much probably a lot of people participated in that voting as well, so that's great to hear. So moving on to item 12, the board will review and discuss the annual report regarding the management fees under certain cooperative purchasing contracts as required by Education Code subsection 44.0331B. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Soto and members of the board, under the Education Code, the district is required to provide an annual report of the cooperative fees paid by the school district or by the contractor when the district is participating in a cooperative. Both the membership fees and the vendor fees go to offsetting the operating costs that are associated with the cooperative in meeting all the procurement requirements. This provides another efficiency for the district to use in order to procure the items that are necessary for the school district. And also one of the added benefits to that is certain vendors under cooperatives also provide rebates to the district. And at this point, we received $33,281 from the Buy Board Cooperative by participating in it. So we'll be presenting this report for acceptance by the board in accordance with the Education Code. And the report is on page 9 and 10 of your board book.
All right, thank you, sir. Sure, while people are perusing through, are there any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item for Mr. Hernandez? All right, I think we're okay on that, Mr. Hernandez, thank you. Moving on to item 13, the board will review and discuss to approve RVK Incorporated for basic services and compensation of the cost of the work plus the cost for additional services for bond 2022. Steering committee community needs related to projects at an estimated cost of $194,900 to be funded from bond 2022 and its interest earnings. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Dr. Hinojosa?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Chair and members of the board, so for this particular item that we'll be seeking approval for at Monday's board meeting, back in the November board meeting, the Board of Trustees approved the superintendent and staff to negotiate a contract or to negotiate a contract with RVK and to work on the bond steering committee selection of the two priority items, the projects that were approved back in August. One of them being the entrance at McCollum High School. So for this particular item that we're going to seek approval for is just the approval. We did share their proposal with legal. They have reviewed it, and based on the competencies that they've shown and the qualifications in their plan, we will request on Monday the approval of that to move forward. So now, once we receive approval, we can meet together again with the steering committee and begin redesigning the initial recommendation that was provided to the board for the entrance at McCollum.
Thank you, sir. We have any comments, concerns, or clarification needed?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Cavazos?
Dr. Hinojosa, so so the steering committee is going to meet again to make a recommendation on the construction, on which design?
Right. So once approved, so what we did with RVK is they'll review the initial designs that were presented, and then along with the steering committee, they will kind of propose some recommendations that we received and redesign that initial one that was approved, and then that's the one that will get brought for recommendation to the board.
Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. Thank you for clarifying.
Mr. Chair? Dr. Hinojosa, after the committee reviews some renderings, there'll be options that the board will be presented to that they will make a selection on the renderings, correct?
Exactly. So similar to what we did, the process that we did before. And so what we'll do with this, again, the committee will put forth some recommendations, and then those will be presented to the board at hopefully at the March board meeting.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments or concerns, clarification needed? Ms. Ortiz?
Yes, what's the timeline for the start of construction? Are we looking at the second, is it the second draw? It's not, or this is the first draw?
Yes, exactly. So this is still within the first issuance. So the parameters that we've discussed with RVK when we're doing the negotiations in this contract was with the under the direction that this first issuance was when the construction was going to begin. So the anticipated start date would be to go out for bid with general contractors once we're able to move forward sometime late spring and possibly finish and finalize all that by summer. So that way it would begin probably early fall would be the construction for the elevation.
Any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item from Dr. Hinojosa? Okay. So we'll move on to item 14. The board will review and discuss the request to approve Convergent for the purchase and installation of access control, intrusion system, and security camera equipment for the press box and locker room areas at Memorial Stadium as part of the stadium renovations. The procurement will be through the Omnia Partner Cooperative Contract number R220702. The estimated cost of $141,013 will be funded with the maintenance tax notes funds. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Soto. This being the Board Appreciation Month, on behalf of the Information Services Department, I want to express our deepest gratitude for the service as a school board member. The support you continue to provide and the positive changes we see in our schools are a testament to your vision and leadership. Having said that, we ask that you consider and approve the request to purchase the recommended security solution for Memorial Stadium. Security has become an integral part of our everyday lives. As we build and improve on our district facilities, it is necessary that we include safety and security measures in the build. If approved, we will install a Milestone Network video recorder, indoor and outdoor cameras, and an intrusion system that includes access control, door contacts, card readers, keypads, glass breaks, and motion sensors for the press box and the locker room area. This solution matches the upgrades that have been completed district-wide as part of the Bond 2022 Proposition A for technology improvement. The video system will be connected to the district Milestone Video Management System, which allows district administrators and the Harlandale Police the ability to see live as well as recorded video of the stadium. The access and intrusion system will be connected to the current district on guard system, so no additional servers or training is needed and user training will be needed. Staff recommends that Convergent Technologies be hired to provide and install all the needed security hardware, software, licenses, and programming of the video and intrusion solutions as part of the renovations at Memorial Stadium. Funding will come from the maintenance tax notes at a total cost to the district of approximately $141,000. Thank you for your consideration.
Yes, ma'am. Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Ortiz?
Ms. Martinez, and this is, and Convergent Technologies is who we already have services with, and this would just be an extension of, because it's a
Yes.
different site.
That is correct. We've worked with them since about 8 years now, from the beginning of when we first started putting security out.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, concerns, clarification needed on this item? No. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Martinez. Anything further before we go to item number 3, Mr. Soto?
No, sir.
All right, perfect. So item number 15 is adjournment. So I don't know if somebody would like to make a motion on that. Ms.
Mr.
Ortiz?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we adjourn.
All right, do we have a second to adjourn?
I second.
All right, second by Ms. Solis. We'll go ahead and call for the vote. It's open. All right, we can go ahead and close for the votes. All right, it is now 7:41 and we have adjourned. Thank you, everyone.